Well folks, welcome back to the workshop to another power tool repair video. Today we're starting off with a Dewalt hammer. This is one we don't get on too often. Even Dewalt hammers full stop, you don't see too many of them. This one is actually kind of fresh looking. It's one I've never seen before. A D25810 Type 1 small chipping hammer. I'm going to see what's wrong with this one and see if we can fix it up. First thing, see what's wrong with it, or see what it does. That sounds a bit rough. And it sounds like it's running very fast as well. Right, quick peek at the bearings first. If it's not them, we'll go up and look at the hammer section in case it's a broken piston or something. Wouldn't be a big fan of these Dewalt hammers. They can sometimes be a little awkward to work on. And a bit slow to get parts for as well. It's not the most high-tech looking one. No brush holder basically, just two wee holders screwed on to the whole motor housing down here, so there's all one piece. The field done and everything else just screwed on. A little bit basic, to be honest. I was expecting that bearing there to be gone, but it's actually not. Brush is only about halfway worn. Hasn't done an awful lot, but it's not a bearing anyway, at least not that I can see. Question is, what's the noise coming from? So she's running fast, but the actual tacho is still attached up the armature. That's what this black piece is here. And this is the wee pickup then, wee magnetic pickup to tell the controller how fast she's running. She's running a wee bit quick, but it's not that that's causing it. Unless there's something broken up in here and rattling around and making it sound worse than what it is. Alright, how do we get into this thing? Obviously we're taking the motor off. You have to unscrew it from this way, but this is on the road. How do we see? Now what's this? This is a cover or something. There we go. Take this knob off here, I'd imagine. Lovely. Take the tool holder apart as well. There's one of these things. Worst tool holders to take apart. Who thought this was a good idea? Size of the end cap on it. Slides all the way down in there, and this thing gets in the way. It's so annoying. cap is now. That's just a twist fit. Actually has two. Well, it's not a broken con rod anyway. I can see the con rod there. Crank's good. Con rod's not broken. And it seems to be moving right, so I don't think the actual piston itself is gone. Stick that back on in case the dirt gets on. We'll go a bit deeper. How's that coming off? Expecting there to be screws on top of here, but there's not. So you have to take off the handle. Just a long spade connector. So's that one. Alright, it's just smaller than I thought. I'm pulling the whole thing here. It's just a wee tiny connector. There's your wee controller back here. Tiny wee controller for it. Not much in the handle anyway. Alright, here's the screws here. Pull the brushes out just in case. They're an awkward brush as well because they're a big long lead on them too. So it'll be hard to fit anything different onto this machine. You'll probably have to go with the Dewalt unless you do a little soldering job on it. Why is that not coming out? She's loose and she's moving. Which is not coming out. Oh, there we go. Ah. I think maybe it might be this bearing up in here and not the bottom one. We're shaking this one. We couldn't shake this. The air deflectors actually screwed onto the body too, look. Normally they're just sitting floating. Don't know if there's a circlip on this or not. We'll unscrew. A lot of screws in this anyway. Hopefully they're all the same size. Now, what am I going to find on here? That's not good for a start. There we go. Right, good job I took that off. Coated the screw tooler. Right, we have a mess. The bearings collapsed and the race has fallen onto here. And by the looks of it, the balls might have fell in there too. There's a circlip on this. Yeah, the race is all on this as well, so it is. There's a bit of damage, you know. Have to give that a wee clean. We're going to have to do something inside of here. Question is, what's all on it? Yeah. Steel ball. Question is, will this be able to be fixed? Ah, there are the balls there, look. So they've actually dropped into the hammer section as well, so they're probably inside here too. Because this looks like the same gearbox as a boring hammer as well. So this is just a chipping hammer, hammer only, no rotation. But the gearbox is set up to take a clutch as well. So there is a model with a clutch to drive a rotary gear inside of here to make it into a rotary hammer. They just have this as a sampler version, just as chipping only. But it means this here is a completely open hole here. So these balls have more than likely fallen onto there too. Which means there's going to be a lot more stripping needed here. But why did it fail for such a young hammer? And it doesn't look like it's done very much. See if we can see why. There's why there. Made in China special. Just an unbranded, cheap Chinese bearing on the motor. It means we'll be buying a cheap and cheerful machine than a Dewalt. If that's the only quality they're putting into them. They could at least have a half decent branded bearing put into this thing so they don't fail like that. That is just the cheapest of the cheap bearing, just to save a few half pennies in the manufacturing process. First of all, we'll give this a quick wee clean down and get this armature and bearing out of here. Then we'll see about cleaning this out and see how far we need to go to dismantle it to make sure these here are all out and accounted for. We'll clean this first. And yes, that parts washer needs a good clean. There must be another C-clip at the bottom of this because that's not actually pulling out. How does that work? There we go. It's actually the oil seal holding it in. That's why it wouldn't come out. Hopefully we haven't damaged it now. So probably don't have one of them. The bearing's up here and the oil seal's underneath. So that's the only thing was actually supporting this armature when it was running, the actual oil seal. Probably damaged now, but we'll not know until we get it out and get a look at it. So now we have to press that out and pull this off the shaft. That's very tight. Too tight. Oh, be very careful there. That could have been a disaster. Little lipla. Bearing comes out that way, not this way. You're pushing the bearing into the housing here, look. That's just for the oil seal. The bearing's up here. So be careful there. Have to press it out this way. That'll do. Also, be careful of this. There's a wee steel insert here to help the housings line up. Make sure you're not pressing down on that. Pass through it that way. See what I mean? If I kept pressing there, I would have broken that aluminium housing and had to replace that as well. So that's be lessons you learn just as you're going. When you start feeling resistance when you're pressing out bearings, especially in the likes of aluminium, if it's getting very tight, stop. It only takes so much force to take it out. Normally they're only just sitting on there. So that's our bearing. We'll have to see if we can salvage that, or else check the numbers and see if I have another one from a different brand maybe. If I don't have, I might have to reuse it, because I don't really want to wait for parts to come on for this just to get it up and running. I want to see if I can get this up and running fairly quick. Now, we have to strip this. Don't think there's anything else for it. Tool holders, the actual ball holder in 2 halves. Pull all these out. There we go. What way are we? Spring, a big sort of bump, yeah, facing back. A separate spring in here. It's actually behind that. Two O-rings behind this, and just a bearing. Was that a bearing? No, it's not an actual bearing, it's just a sleeve. We'll clean all that out anyway, and we'll wash all this. Yeah, that's where we have to dismantle it. Steel balls still inside. I would imagine I'm going to have to take this crank out as well to get that piston back in again. Oh, that's them falling out low. Right, need to go to the parts washer and get it cleaned up here. Right, the inside actually wasn't too bad. There's a few wee pieces in it, but nothing too major, and there doesn't seem to be any damage anyway. That's the main thing. And I clean this out fully. I need to move this crank. But how does that come out? Teeth on it look alright anyway, they don't look damaged. It's actually not all that tight a fit. Now there we go. It just lines up to the pin for the crank. See, there's a wee notch there, look. There's another wee thing fell out, look. Bit more of the wrist, look. There's a bit more of a seal. That bearing's okay. I'll just wash this out the rest of the way now that we can get into here. And that should be her. Right. Not looking too bad. Good big heavy seal in this anyway. Strangely enough, it's not actually formed to this. It's just a round one. It just has to be pressed back in again. Normally they're actually moulded to this here, but this is a deep enough groove I can just push on. So that's not that big a deal. That's alright. But the piston and the hammer bolt is worn. These O-rings. There is a shoulder on them. So I'd rather just change them. But if I don't have an oil seal for this thing, I'm certainly not going to have O-rings for it. And I really don't want to put this on the shelf just to wait for them to come in. So instead, I'm just going to use Bosch O-rings instead. So these are basically identical. Same thickness and same diameter. These will actually do the same job as this. They're only O-rings, there's no big deal which one to use, just as long as they're the right size. So I have these in stock, so they're the ones I'm just going to use instead. So fit them to that. I'm going to reuse the actual seal. I'd prefer to replace it, but I'm going to have nothing this thickness and these dimensions. You could order it on from Dewalt, but it's going to take too long to get that. It cost me 10 or 15 euro as well. And I don't want to be putting any more money into this because I've no guarantee that the armature is actually good or not. So we're going to go with this here the way it is. The other thing is, see what size of bearings in this. I think I kept the little seal. There we go. We know it's made in China. But what size was it? That looks like a 6003 maybe. Don't know, I'll have to see. Match it up. So it's not a 6003, it's actually a 6001. 6001 RS, that's what it said. So that's our bearing, and we're reusing this. I've also changed the bearing on the bottom of here. This is a 608. That can just press off in the bearing press. Just be careful you don't break this little magnet in the back of it. Don't grab the magnet, just grab the bearing and press it off by pressing the center of here. That'll just take off the magnet as well. Stick on a new bearing, that's you. But I don't want to be putting too much into this because, as you can see, there's quite a bit of wear on that armature now because that's been slapping around so much. It's been wearing away on that. So I don't want to be spending too much money on this. We don't know how good it's going to be. There's a lip at the bottom of here for it to sit on, so make sure you press it in all the way. Don't be just using the bearing to press it on. And as well, don't think heat is going to help here, because we'll just end up heating up or burning the actual oil seal. Pressing this on the bearing press is going to be the best bet. We'll just get something the right outside diameter to press in this outside race only. That's that. Finish that off. Make sure your C-clip's on. So this is going to be one assembly here. Press the armature and now just have this as the bottom assembly for the motor. Click that on. Now press this on. Put a wee touch of grease in there first just to have something on that seal. I'll press this on. That'll be that side ready to go. There we go. That is the main problem fixed. The collapsed bearing replaced. So it's 2 new bearings. This one here will be fine. That's just run the bottom of the crank. So leave that to one side. And we'll get the rest of her back together. Starting with the O-rings. Same as the other brand of hammers, a wee bit of heavy grease on this first. Just to put these on. Before we put it on, just get some grease on here first, because it's hard to get the grease in that bronze bush down there once it's installed. So this is the awkward bit now. Drop on the piston and try to line it up, or maybe pokey. Wonder if that'll be easier if I put this gear on first. No crown gear. There's no crown gear, there's nothing to really centre that. This is built an awful lot like the really old Bosch 5 hammer. And then you have to put all this assembly on from the back. So that's the handiest way to do this. It's going to be hard to put that piston on and actually line up the con rod in order to put this gear on and put this onto the con rod at the same time. And that's even harder again to get the piston into the hammer pipe, because it's going to be able to move around. That's normally the crank or the bevel gear inside for the rotation that helps center this, but that's not there. So I'll do it like the old Bosch 5. Assemble this first and have that sticking out the end, and have the tool holder there to hold the piston in place as we drop on the crank. Yeah, we'll do it that way. So leave that for now, and we'll get this back together. A wee bit of pre-lube before we put it on. You have to get the hammer onto this as well. Get that lubed. Drop this on. It's a wee bit on the tight side. Well, actually, it's not that tight when it's on there. Yeah, no, that'll be alright. I think it should do anyway. Where do we see? Which way did that go on now? Need something to support this. So we're taking, well, it fits on nicely, so it must be that. And the spring. Yeah, that looks about right. And that's the tool holder, that's the front. That was still the front, wasn't it? Yeah, that's fitting into there. That's holding it in. They were under there. That should be it. So we'll get another good gob of grease in there. I'll put the piston in. Clip's just moved. There we go. Yeah, that should be fine. Good compression out of it anyway. So there must be a top and a bottom to this. Yeah, big tracks there and two either side and blank on top. So these must be the sides. So that should one like that. Just turn that a little bit. Make sure they line up. There we go. It's run a wee bit too far yet. Just push the piston in a wee bit more. Get some grease on this too. That's going on with this here pin for the conrod back here to where the wee notches. I want to take that all the way back to the edge. Take it run. Yeah. That's the top of the crank. Connect it onto the conrod. You can hear it's getting compression there too. That's her. Press the rest of it on now. Clean the hands first. Bear with me if I don't look like I know what I'm doing. I don't just yet. So that goes on. Actually goes on quite easily too. And there was two O-rings on there. And there was a big one, was there? No. That's the one there I'm looking for. Don't know what that's for just yet. So that's in here. They were on here. There we go. Just tap that on. Make sure it's seated. That's the hammer pipe rebuilt. Now, finish putting them together, I suppose. I'm going to mix these greases. I'm going to put the heavier stuff down here. The gearbox end, the lighter stuff up top. The screws is the next thing. How many different types was there? Take it, they're all the same. least the machine screws anyway. Yeah, they're all identical. Get a bit of Loctite. I don't have a quantity for the grease. I don't know how much actually goes into this thing. It's not on the diagram either, so I'll just have to guess. I think roughly it'll be about the same as a Bosch one, say about 50 ml. Including what I've already put on there, I would say. That's her running smooth again now. Some of the old oil, look at them threads. Now you wonder sometimes, do you build a tool holder now or later? Generally it's safer to do it later if you're not 100% sure, because a lot of the covers won't go on. The tool holder's assembled. If you're not sure, always leave the tool holder to very last. And that was another thing. This was actually screwed on here, which is a wee bit odd. So I'll just put that back on too. One of the air deflectors just sitting loose inside the plastic body of the motor. This one's actually screwed onto the housing, or screwed onto the gearbox. Just put them on semi-tight. Don't want to put on too tight because it could just squash the plastic. So I'll leave the tool holder to last. I'll get some grease on it now. I'm going to go, I'm going to go 30 ml. Don't want to go too much. Too much can sometimes just be as bad as too little. Big heavy O-ring there to keep it on. And this just twists on. That's all that's holding the grease on. Housing all cleaned out as well. Not exactly much on this housing, like I was saying. It's nicely made, but not exactly much to it. But at least it goes together nice and easy. Now, getting there. The brush is back in again. They're luckily not too badly worn. Get away with keeping them. Everything turns freely. stick on the back handle and then do the chuck. I'll click this on first actually, so that has to drop into here. Back of here is the machine threads, the last two of them. They're going to have the aluminium body, the rest are just going to have the plastic. This is going into here. A spade connector. And this one is over here. That's everything. Not much the wiring anyway. Now, the rest of this is the question. How does this go on? Well, obviously that must have been on there. And you got the wee keyways here. Must be that way. There we go. That clicks on there. Felt sleeve, steel washer, and there'll be a spring. Before we put the spring on, I'll just put grease in the tool holder because we need the little stops on. Diamond first, then spring. That's what this is probably for. No, that's not going to work. I'm assuming that is to support these. Oh, the second spring. That must be on first. Leave that to last actually. Yeah, that sits on there. And it supports these discs, which lift up these pins. These interlock together. There we go. Then the spring. Then your sleeve. Alright. It's not off this wonder in there. That's off a Bosch. Must have pulled that out of the parts washer. Didn't realise. It's not off this hammer. The sleeve's on then. Then this little yellow insert. Put a bit of grease on there. Let's see if we can slide this on. Hopefully it goes on easier than it comes off. There we go. A little bit of grease helps it. That slides up then to lock it in place. Right, that should hopefully be this Dewalt hammer up and running again. See what she sounds like now. And see what the motor's actually like. Now that bearing's changed. Hopefully she now hammers as well with them two Bosch O-rings. Actually doesn't sound too bad. Gears are worn. There is damage to the actual gear on top of the armature and probably to that crank. It's a little bit of damage, a little bit of wear, but they're still meshing into each other, so they'll be a little bit geary, but not all that much. Sounds good. Tester on the block here. Just turn that off so it's not spinning on me, because it's got under the grooves of the transformer and getting stuck. Not so bad. One Dewalt hammer saved from the scrapyard. She's probably decent enough with machine special as a chipping hammer, but she's not the most sophisticated thing in the world. I don't like this rear handle. That's fairly slack. That's not a very good design, nor the actual trigger. Kind of annoying. You put it down, you have to sort of feel around to get the top of it to get it switched off again. Decent enough machine by the looks of it, but not the best, to be honest. And not very good that they've been fitted with such cheap Chinese bearings. But anyway, that is how you fix the Dewalt D25810 small 5 kg small chipping hammer. That's how you replace the bearings on it and fix up the inside if you have any bother with them. And if you're stuck for O-rings, you can always use the Bosch ones because they work fine. Hopefully that oil seal will actually just hold up now. But if it does leak, at least we know now it'll be well worth actually buying it in and sticking it onto the machine, because we know the rest of it actually works fine. But anyway folks, that's her up and running again. As always folks, hope you're enjoying the tool repair videos. If you are enjoying them, make sure you hit that wee like button down below. And if you want to help with the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button there too. Anyway folks, till next time, I'll chat to you later.